Hey, good morning everyone, it's TrackMan 44 here. This morning I'm down at my daughter's house, down at this little lake community that she lives at, and I'm going to try to get my old backhoe. It's a 1973 580B case. I'm going to try to get it started up. It's been sitting here at the very minimum 2 years, so we're going to see if I can get it fired up. I forgot to bring any fuel with me, so I'm at the mercy of whatever's not leaked out of the tank, and also I got to deal with corrosion on the battery posts and all that stuff. I did bring a fresh battery and of course jumper cables, so with a little bit of luck we'll be able to fire this thing up. The first things first, we got to get it uncovered and get the battery post cleaned, and then we'll get about the business of seeing what'll happen. When my cousin bought this tractor brand new in 1973, he bought the protection package on it because he did a lot of work for the city, so he would leave the tractor parked, overnight, in a lot of different neighborhoods. So here's the nice, neat little package he's got for covering the valve fill, the oil fill. There's also one for the oil and for the dash pod, the gauges and everything. And here's a similar one over here for the engine oil. Oil's good, but it's really black. And of course you can see the exact same style for the fuel cap. The hinge is actually broken on the back of that one, as well as another one right up here on the radiator. The real important one is this one up here for the gauge cluster. Make sure vandals can't throw rocks and break your gauges and stuff. So we're going to go ahead and put the battery in and clean up these terminals and see what's going to happen. This one uses a Group 31 battery, which is a pretty sizable battery. Of course it's 12 volt. My ground wire is really looking pretty bad here. And also the ground connection over there is not too good either. So if we're lucky, there'll be enough juice passed through to engage the starter. These old transmissions on these guys have an actual start position on it. If you don't put it in the correct position with the gear shift, it's not going to do anything. Start position on this guy here. This is standard 4-speed, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Standard H pattern 4-speed with a shuttle shift. The start position is to the left and forward. What that does is that completes a circuit under here with these two wires. When you put it up there, it closes that circuit, and only then will allow the starter to engage. I got dash lights. That's a good thing. We give her a little bit of throttle. Solenoid's clicking. Let me stretch out. Well, I even cleaned the terminals on the starter directly off the battery over to it. Still to no avail. I still get the clicking, but I don't get the turnover. So I'm going to take the jumpers and go right over straight to the starter and see if it'll work like that. Dang it, here comes the rain. I gotta quit. Well, I come back down for a second attempt. It's kind of threatening a little bit now. I've got a little bit of rain dropping, so I don't know if I'm going to get far enough along or not. But I went ahead and brought a few things, brought a new ground strap, brought a grinder, to kind of grind all the rust and stuff off, make good connections. So we're going to go ahead and go as far as we can, see what happens with the weather. Nice, pretty 4-gauge grounding strap. And I went by the farm store this morning and picked up a brand new Group 31 XHD battery, commercial battery. XHD means it's extra heavy duty. It's got a little more cranking amp than the standard heavy duty. This got 1,000 cold cranking amps, so it's pretty good battery. And the time we were cleaning this up, I had it being topped off on the charger, because you always want to take a brand new battery that's been sitting on the shelf for several months, and you want to go ahead and hook it to the charger, and you want to charge it just a little bit on a low setting for 45 minutes or an hour, and then go ahead and put it in service. The only bad thing about Group 31 and bigger batteries is they get a little heavy. I'm going to go ahead and hook the positive post up first. I cleaned all this out and everything, so it's ready to hook up. The reason you want to hook your positive post up first, this is a negative ground. If I hook the ground up first and I'm then connecting up the positive post second, and my wrench slips and I'm still in contact with the post and I come in contact with the frame, I've got a direct short because the negative post is already connected to the frame. So always connect your grounding post last. There's the positive, so now we go to the negative. We got to add this little wire on. That's to the winch I've got up overhead. Okay, I checked all the fluids yesterday. Got the new battery in, cleaned all the connections. I say all the connections, at least the main connections, not all the connections in the circuit. So there still could be an issue. But let's see what happens. Remember, this one has a start position. Still just clicking. Dang. Now, while I was recording this, I didn't even think to say right now that I was going around to jump the solenoid, but that's essentially what I'm doing right now, is going around the other side to bypass the actual starter circuit and jump the solenoid. Obviously, I had to go and jump the solenoid, so I have voltage everywhere it needs to be, but I don't know if the solenoid is something bad or if it's just oxidation on some of the contacts because it's been set for a couple of years. Even though it's covered with the tarp, you can still draw that moisture and give oxidation. But you can see, got a little spark on the screwdriver, not a big deal, but it didn't even turn over hardly at all and just fired right off. But this old tractor always starts like that anyway, so problem solved until we figure out what's wrong with the solenoid. It's kind of good to let this thing run a little bit, warm up, get everything all, because I do have a leaking fitting on the backhoe. It's actually a 90-degree swivel joint back on the hose. So I'm going to either have to replace that fitting or come up with an alternative way of piping it to solve that issue. Go ahead and let it loosen up a little bit, then I'm going to shut it off and see if it'll go ahead and start on its own. So you know what, this might be the end of this one. And for all the aggravation, it really wasn't that much at all. And this is track man 42. I'm ready, guys.